feel like that would be good because I can barely make one person happy in the sack, let alone two, you know? So I said to her, what if instead of a threesome, you get with somebody else and you do it in front of me and I watch, right? And at first she laughed. This wasn't a joke. Weird. She thought this one. And she said, you want me to cuck you? I said, yeah. I mean, I feel like maybe there's a concept in therapy called exposure therapy. Okay. And that is basically when if you have a fear or a phobia, you expose yourself to the fear or phobia so that you see it's not a big deal and you get over it. So if you're...
No. If you fear a man cracking your wife, the solution is not for you to watch your wife get cracked. Oh! What the fuck? No, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this word on TikTok. That's the title of the video right there. I thought I'd like to be but I didn't. What is this? Man, just wait and find out, man.
Everybody,
it's a story time type vid.
Everybody, I wanted to talk a little bit about my experience being cucked, particularly something that happened between me and my ex-wife. Now, before I begin, there are two things that you need to know about my ex-wife. Okay, number one, she loved getting jiggy with it, right? She loved it.
Is this nigga serious?
And she died.
What?
So that was kind of like a chicken and the egg scenario, you know, divorce, death, which came first. But point is, whichever way you slice it, she's out of my life. I never knew if, you know, if your partner dies, does that automatically mean they're your ex, you know? But anyway, this is not normally a story that I probably would feel comfortable telling because it's very personal, right? But the reason that I wanted to tell it was because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've sort of been blowing up lately, you know? And so I feel like now I have a little bit more of a platform, and that allows me to sort of provide people a perspective on things that they wouldn't normally see. For example, cucking is kind of a joke, right? It's sort of considered a punchline in our culture. And for me, it's the exact opposite, because I have always struggled with insecurity, dysfunction in the bedroom and everywhere else. I mean, if you've watched this YouTube channel for more than 5 seconds, you probably could tell that I'm very mentally ill, right?
Yeah, you're a weirdo.
So cucking for me is sort of more of a therapeutic exercise, right? It's sort of an emotional, ritualistic sort of thing. And basically, like I said, I had a very, very difficult time my entire life sort of making it happen in the terms of intimacy. And so it really wasn't until my ex-wife and I got together and then really got to know each other and got comfortable with each other that I was able to have anything remotely resembling physical intimacy. And so
such a dysfunctional relationship. Did he like eat his wife? ED his whole life? Like he must have had to try, you know what I'm saying? He might have had to switch over to the dark side. See what happened. He probably had a corn addiction too, all that stuff.
And when it was even the best night that we had, it would be over and I would think, you know, I would obsess over, were you faking it? Would you rather be with somebody else? Do you wish it was your ex? You know, all this stuff. And I would grill her basically every night about all these things.
Ew.
And then that started to spill over into my daily life. You know, that would become, are you cheating on me? You know, why aren't you texting me back? Why aren't you calling me? Do you even love me? All this stuff. And it got very, 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 very difficult for both of us. And that really started to sort of fray our relationship.
Like, what type of girl, like, stays in this? You know what I'm saying? I feel like you exhibit one sign of this shit, and your girl is gone. You know what I'm saying? I can't be the only one that thinks like that. Like, how do you keep a woman after even 1 or 2 times acting like this? You feel me? Beans, appreciate the heart me.
You know, and it started to, I remember very vividly one night, I had a dream. That's not like Martin Luther King, not that kind of dream. I hope he didn't have a dream like this.
Or Billie Eilish.
Otherwise, he would be pretty freaky. Well, I don't know, he's kind of hot, you know, maybe it's... Anyway,
what?
I had a dream. Now I can't stop thinking about Martin Luther King. I had a nightmare. Let's say that. I have a nightmare. Evil Dr. King, right? I had a nightmare where my wife was engaging in an act of physical intimacy in front of me, and I couldn't do anything about it, and she was doing it to humiliate me. She was tormenting me with it, right? And it started to become a recurring nightmare. And eventually I brought this up to her, and I said, I've been having this dream where you, at the time I didn't know exactly that that's what it was called, cucking. But I told her, I have been having this nightmare where you physically, or you torment me, psychologically and physically, you know, in this way. I don't want to say it because I don't want to get YouTube to get all pissy with me, but yeah.
And he liked it? How is this even possible?
To get all pissy with me, but yeah, basically, yeah, I told her, and she said, I thought she would think it was funny, but she really did not. And she said, you know what? I am getting sick of you having this idea of me in your head, this figment of your imagination who is evil, right? You have invented a version of me that is evil and is trying to ruin your life, and you think that's me, right? You projected that onto me. So that's what's causing all the problems in our relationship. And at the time, I was sort of like, okay, lesson learned. Don't tell you anything ever again, right? Zip. But, you know, after I started to think about it, and I started to realize she was exactly right. I was right on the money. And I sort of sat with this for a little bit, and I you know, I started to I worked with my therapist trying to figure out how to sort of get the evil version of her out of my head. But it was just, it's very, very deep-seated problems that I have.
Very, very deep-seated insecurity. Like, you just, like, there's so many problems that you have. Like, it's like you just wasn't ready to date. And I don't know how you kept your girl. I really don't. And I'm not even trying to say that to be funny. Like, I genuinely have no idea how you kept a girl going through shit like this. I really don't. Shit, crazy. Crazy. Probably start from childhood. Yeah.
So, basically, one night, we had an argument. And it was about something so dumb, I don't even remember what it was, but basically you know how it's like every argument isn't really about the thing that it's about. It's about it's like most couples have the same argument over and over again their entire relationship, right? Same thing. And that's definitely the case with us. Okay. And it got to a point where she said, what do? We cannot continue going on like this. So we have to either do something or end it. And I, as a joke, said, well, why don't we have a threesome, you know? And I was expecting her to laugh. I was trying to break the tension with that.
I would never in my life joke about that with my wife, even though I don't have one. Like, it's just like, what? I just would never joke like that in my life. Like, it would never. And if she joked like that, it would just be weird. Like, why would you say that? You know what I'm saying? He wasn't joking, exactly.
But her reaction was like, really? And I could tell that she was actually interested. And I said, well, I was joking, but you know, if you
oh God.
I was at a place where I feel like I'm such a pathetic loser in relationships. I was at a place where I was ready to do anything. You're going to probably hear the rest of the story and you're going to say, you're so stupid. But you have to understand, I was in a place where I would do anything to just have her love me again, right? I would do anything to have her to just fix it. And I didn't know at the time, nothing will do that. It's not possible. But So when I said the threesome remark and she said she was interested, I said, I was just joking. But if you are interested, then I'll think about it. And she said, you know what?
If you ever put on the table, like, your wife, you know what I'm saying, basically getting with another man or a three-way, and she reacts like, I'm actually interested in that. Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no. I think it's at that point it's over. At that point it's over. She already is mentally checked out. I don't know why she's still with you. This nigga must got cheese or something. He must got cheese. Hey, Ashley.
Yeah. And the reason why she said that was because this is probably important context I should have mentioned earlier. She was polyamorous before we got married. So she sort of lived her whole life, slinging it all around town, and everybody was just supposed to be fine with that, And I made that an ultimatum. I said, I cannot do that. So either it's probably not going to work between the two of us. But we fell so in love that she was willing to give that up for me. And talking about it now, I don't think I ever really appreciated that the way that I should have. And that's my bad. I did a lot of things wrong up until this point, right? Well, and still. Anyway, she said, okay, let's do a threesome. So I was like, okay, sort of hesitantly, but I figured I could let her have this because she gave in to me to get married, and so I can give in to her a little bit. Compromise, right? So I sat with it for a few more days, and then I came to her. I had sort of, I do a lot of surfing on the internet, and so it's almost impossible to not find something about cucking in some way or shape or form, And I had sort of stumbled into a Reddit community centered around it, and it was very cool. There were very like-minded people, and we all sort of shared similar desires and similar problems. And
once you're in a Reddit community about your weird shit, you're cooked. You're cooked, because now they're justifying your shit. Now it's a bunch of weirdos just justifying the shit. It's weird. Now it's just like, bruh, you're cooked. You're cooked. Right? He literally searched it on Reddit. He was like, please, let's find somebody like me, please. Goofy ass.
So I had sort of been as I was thinking about the threesome, I was like, well, I don't really feel like that would be good because I can barely make one person happy in the sack, let alone two, so I said to her, what if instead of a threesome, you get with somebody else and you do it in front of me and I watch, right? And at first she laughed. This wasn't a joke. Weird. She thought this one was a joke. And she said, you want me to cuck you? And I said, well, yeah, I don't know. It's I know it's considered a joke, but I said, yeah, I feel like maybe there's a concept in therapy called exposure therapy. Okay. And that is basically when if you have a fear or a phobia, you expose yourself to the fear or phobia so that you see it's not a big deal and you get over it. So if you're...
No. If you fear a man cracking your wife, the solution is not for you to watch your wife get cracked. Oh! What the fuck? Come on, bruh. Please.
Afraid of bees, kick a bee's nest. If you're a germaphobe, stick a sandwich in a toilet and eat it, or lick your own. I don't know. Point is, you expose yourself to the phobia, and then you see that it's not a big deal. So I said, my worst nightmare, literally my worst nightmare, is that I'm getting cucked. So what if it just happens, and then I'm like, okay, the worst thing that could ever happen happened. Now we can move on. Now I can stop living in fear of this thing happening constantly, and we can actually have a good marriage. It was a good idea. Even now that I'm saying it again, it seems like a good idea. But
this guy's just mannerisms are freaking me out. The way he's getting close to the cam and shit. I don't think that applies to your wife bonus money. It literally doesn't. Mar, you still banned from Louisiana? Bruh.
So I presented this to her with all my reasoning, and she said, okay. You know, she was really interested. A little too interested. That was probably the first red flag, but at the time I didn't really. So the next question became, should we pick somebody who we both know or a stranger? And at first I thought it would be better with somebody that we knew, because then we can sort of talk about it and you know, process things and all have a we could even maybe go to thruples therapy, you know. Look at me.
Chad, what do y'all think is better, like, in this situation? Do y'all think it's better to find somebody that they both know or find a stranger? I know, suspend your belief. You know, you not fucking with any of this shit, but what do y'all think? Thank y'all for the blessings, by the way.
Now, I'm becoming poly, and I got tricked into it. Anyway. Then, you know, we sort of started to realize, well, if it's, we were going down the list of people who were contenders from our social circles, and I was realizing, I can't start going to trivia night and picturing you railing my wife every single time I'm trying to figure out, you know, who the 12th president was. So we said, maybe it would be better to have a stranger. But then that became a daunting task in and of itself, because we were sort of like, well, do we go on Craigslist? Like what? You know, and then eventually I sort of said, look, the whole point of this is that it is supposed to be humiliating for me. And it is supposed to be, you know. So I'm going to give you the reins. You do whatever you want. You do it with whoever you want. And I just have to suck it up. That's the whole point. It's not just in the moment. It's the lead up and everything surrounding it. It's a psychological thing. So she said, okay, you know, and I said, I promise it is okay.
Oh,
never say that.
Oh my gosh, that's literally the meme. Chat, did I tell y'all about that one time I was on a dating app and it was this couple? Like, it wasn't this couple, it was this girl. Like, you know what I'm saying, we matched and stuff, and he was like, yo, bro, this her man and stuff. Like, yo, like, you mind if you, like, you know what I'm saying, basically do it with her and I watch? No, brother. Actually, no. Actually, blocked. No, brother. No, brother. I'm cool. I'm genuinely cool. Like, fellas, would y'all do that? I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna lie. That shit is weird. Just weird. I watch too many horror movies.
So, we picked out a date. Well, she picked out a date and said, you're gonna do this. And that was what I wanted, you know. So she said, we're gonna do this here. It's gonna be at the house. Another mistake. It's gonna be with this person who I found on Hinge.
Oh my God, Hinge.
And there we go. It's gonna be great. So that night comes, and I'm very, 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 very nervous. You know, I'm sort of, that's anxiety inducing, you know, but another mistake that I made was that I sort of had an attitude of just power through it, because it's like mouthwash. You know, the pain means that it's working. This is supposed to hurt. So,
brother, you don't brush your teeth or floss enough. Mouthwash does not hurt that bad. Chat, does mouthwash hurt for y'all? What the fuck? Yeah, and he's definitely gonna be powering through your wife. Oh. So I guess you gotta suck it up, because she gonna be sucking it up too.
Oh. The pain is good. Suck it up and get through it. So I probably would have stopped sooner had I had all the information that I have now in the future, but I didn't. So the time rolls around, you know, I can't focus at work because I'm thinking about it, and then the night rolls around. It was a Friday night, and there's a knock at the door. He's here, right? She had told me she'd never met this guy before, and she was acting like she had never met this guy before. But as soon as she opened the door, I could swear there was a little bit of it was like a flicker of recognition. You know, it was like,
oh wow.
They said, oh, nice to meet you. You know, hi, how are you? My name's so and so. But the look in her eye seemed like she knew who this person was. But I can't say anything because I'm going to sound like a crazy person. But that was sort of a stomach drop moment, you know, but I said, no, it's all in your head because I'm paranoid about everything else. How do I know what's right and what's not? That's my torment in life. So I said, okay, whatever. He comes in and you know, they're sort of like, well, should we make small talk or do you want to get into it? We had put out a little charcuterie board. You know, my wife likes doing that kind of stuff.
Bro, y'all niggas got wine, cheese, and ham. Y'all niggas got wine, cheese, ham, and pepperonis out for a nigga that's finna crack your wife.
Probably should have been another red flag how into it she was getting, you know. It was like it was going to be a date. She had lit candles and, you know, cheese and all this stuff and wine. So he starts having crackers and you know, talking about all, just the weather and all this stuff. And then eventually they say, okay, it's time. Like they started acting like they had been talking about this before. And maybe that wasn't exactly something that I had said. No, that's for no. But still, it was weird that it seemed like they were the team and I wasn't. I guess I'm complaining about exactly what I wanted and I told her that. But I don't know. It's just all these things I was starting to really get agitated and anxious.
Ew.
And I should have stopped it. I should have said, no, I don't want to do this anymore. But I didn't because I thought that was supposed to be good. I thought that was the way it was supposed to go. So they say, okay, we are going to start. Let's go in the bedroom. So I walked in and I felt like I was about to puke. I sit in a chair that we had positioned there, the cuck chair.
Oh,
right?
man, not the chair.
I sit down and knowing probably what I should have done was face the dude and see the back of my wife's head, because what sunk me was I sat behind the guy.
Oh, hell no. He was watching his butt cheeks. Hey, yo. There's no good angle of it, but what the fuck?
Sunk me was I sat behind the guy and I saw my wife's face straight on. So I was looking at her face, processing every single micro expression that she was emitting. She walked over to the guy and she was so excited. The look on her face of excitement when she was coming up to him and leaning in, you know, and she was like, you know, I can't do it, but it was a look that I had never seen before in my life.
Your wife, brother.
She was excited in a way that I had never seen before in my life. She was conveying an emotion that I've never seen before. And that broke me. That was what pushed me over the edge. Because
my goodness.
I knew there's no coming back from this.
Yeah.
There's no coming back from knowing. This is a person who I thought that I have learned inside and out, right? And now I'm seeing that is not the case. She has been hiding this part of herself from me. Not hiding it, but it's just I've never seen it before. So that probably means there's a lot else that I haven't seen. Maybe it's my fault. We can argue that until the cows come home. But point is, I was realizing the true depth of how over our relationship was. And it was sort of like I had an out-of-body experience. Because all of a sudden I got up and I said, stop.
Oh my God.
And she got upset and she was like, what's the problem? You know, it's annoyed. She was annoyed with me for stopping. And I said, I don't want to do this anymore. She said, well, you said it was okay. And I said, I know I said that now, but now I'm taking it back. And I was getting more and more upset.
Nah, what would really crush him is if she was all like, nigga, it's either you gonna watch or you gonna get out and give us some privacy. Oh God. I ain't gonna lie. My heart would break.
At that point, I was 75% sure that we were getting a divorce. But she could have saved it. When she was annoyed with me for stopping, it went up to 90. And then I said, you know what? Goodbye. It's over. You two do whatever the hell you want in here because you don't have to worry about me anymore. And I walked out. And I slammed the door behind me and I walked down and I got in my car. And I sat in the car. Nobody came out after me. I waited for 5 minutes in that car like a loser, like a pathetic asshole. 5 minutes. I sat there waiting for somebody to come out and nobody did.
Wow.
That's when I became 100%. Nobody.
Brother, here's my thing though. If I'm her, I would be mad too. For these reasons, right? She was polyamorous before. That means she's probably used to shit like this, right? So she's excited, you know what I'm saying? She got a new partner, whatever, you know what I'm saying? She's getting the poly stuff that she gave up for you, mind you. She gave up for you to marry you. And then when the time comes, you start bitching, crying, complaining about some stuff that she perceives as normal. And she didn't come after you because at the end of the day, you never made her as happy as, I don't know what the guy looked like, but he definitely, pushed some buttons that you never did. Oh! That's tough. Charity was good. Lady Cheshire, I appreciate the heart me. Michelle! She new here. Appreciate the heart me to 2 corgis. Aww. Thank you so much.
She didn't come out. I said, it's over. Nothing. So I drove away and I went to a friend's house.
And she got put through the mattress. It's crazy because she didn't come out because she was getting put through the mattress. She's like, let me go after him. He was all like, all right, just one more stroke. Just 2 more strokes. And he kept, I ain't gonna lie. Gang, I ain't gonna lie. You gonna have to move states.
And I stayed the night. And I got up the next morning. It was one of those, that night of sleep was so awful because I don't know if something ever happens where you wake up in the middle of the night and at first you forget, and you're like, maybe it was a dream, maybe it's not. And then you remember. And yeah. And so I would wake up 10 o'clock, midnight, 3 o'clock. And I'd remember every single time because I'd have to pee a lot. So I have to get up and pee a lot during the night. And so I'm a light sleeper. So I was getting up and remembering what had happened. I've been like, every moment, every time that I remembered, it was like it was happening all over again. And I would check my phone to see if she had texted and said, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I love you so much. Let's fix this. But nothing.
She didn't even text you? Wow. Now your marriage is so unbelievably over. It was so unbelievably over a long time ago. Tough, brother. Tough. She even texted him?
I checked. Nothing. I wake up the next morning and I go to work. Mm-hmm. I stop at home first because I need to shower and change. And nobody's there. I text her and I say, hey, where are you? Are you okay? God. Nothing. No answer. So I go to work. And I don't even remember anything that happened that day. I was just typing mindlessly, trying to take my mind off of it. But I just couldn't focus on anything. I was like, this whole day is shot. And I keep checking my phone. I've got it turned all the way up. When you turn it all the way up so that you hear the sound? Nothing. For the whole morning. Eventually.
They're still effing? Y'all think she was still getting put through? Ooh. Good God! She was getting cracked for days. We're on round 200. Oh. He made an adult decision, now adult consequences. That's what I'm saying. This is all his fault. Every single step.
11 a.m. rolls around. I get a call from an unknown number. And I think it's a sales call. I get a lot of sales calls, so I don't answer it. Same number calls back immediately after. No, decline. Same number calls me back a third time. And I answer. And guy says, this is so-and-so from the LAPD. Is this Dan Henschel? I said, yeah, it is. He says, is your wife so-and-so? And I said she was. Not anymore. What's going on? She was in a car accident this morning. She's dead.
What
and
the fuck?
The whole world stopped around me. And I said, huh? He said, she's dead. In retrospect, I probably should have asked what happened.
She was sucking him while driving. Oh my god! It's very distracting. Very distracting. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's a terrible joke, actually. I'm sorry. I'm actually sorry. Chat. RIP's in the chat. I'm actually sorry. I'm trolling. That was a bad troll. I'm sorry. Jessica, appreciate that heartbeat. Thank you.
But I didn't. I don't know why. I said, okay. And I hung up the phone. I think because it was one of those things where you don't really know how you're going to react in something like that. So I was just in shock. And I was trying to treat it like a normal phone call. So I said, okay, thanks. I said, thanks.
That's terrible.
Hang up. And it was like the whole, you know, everything sort of went around me. My ears are ringing. It's like everything's gone. And I feel like Geppetto. I'm having an out-of-body experience. I go over to my boss's room and I say, I'm sorry. I think I said, I'm sorry, I gotta go. And the look on my boss's face could, you know, she could tell. My boss is a female, by the way. So, you know, write that down.
You're right.
She said, I can tell that you are, I could tell, well, all right, she didn't say that, but she basically was like, she looked just as shocked as me, I think because I was conveying extreme shock. And she said, okay, you can, you know, do what you got to do. I hope everything's okay. And I said, it's not. At this point, I realize I am crying and snot is running down my nose. And I realize I have to call the police guy back because I don't have any other information. I don't know where she is. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on, etc., etc.
Wow, what the
I call the police guy back. And I ask, what the hell happened? What's going on with my wife? How did she die? What's going on? And he says she was in the car with the guy.
Oh
from
my gosh.
The previous night.
No way, dude.
This morning.
No way.
And they were merging onto the interstate, and I guess they misjudged the timing of the semi-truck that was also merging. They flipped over off the overpass. Both dead. And I realized that now, for the rest of my life, the last time that I ever saw my wife was that face she made that I've never seen her make.
Oh my god.
Of excitement that I've never seen. Because she's about to get dicked down by some random man. I lied and I told my family that what we had gone out to eat the previous night and we had a beautiful evening. I said we loved each other, but even then, eventually I couldn't keep up that lie because I had decided to end it 12 hours before she died. So her parents are trying to coordinate funeral crap with me, and eventually I just said, listen, we got a divorce the night before. We said it's over. So I don't want to be involved in this. Okay?
Really?
This is your problem. You deal with it. Leave me out of it. I don't want to be involved.
His wife did nothing wrong, by the way. Absolutely nothing wrong. That's the craziest part about this whole thing. She literally is completely innocent. He asked her to do this. He literally did.
And they said, they assumed that I was grieving. And so they said, no, it's, you know, come on, it's okay. We love you. You're a part of this family. And I said, no, I'm not a part of this family. I'm nothing.
Oh my.
She stalked me. And they said, what does that mean? And I said, just don't worry about it. Okay? That was me hanging up the phone. That's it. She's dead. That's how she died. I thought telling that story would make me feel better, but it didn't.
Wow.
Nothing will make me feel better. Because every time I think about her now, I think about that face.
Wow.
Every time.
What the fuck?
Everybody, I wanted to talk a little.
Good God. Ain't no way. Is this real? He might not be serious. He's not for real. He's not for real. Look at this title. I never watched this, by the way. I don't know why he's saying I watched it. I didn't watch it. Chat, y'all weird, bro. And why would I lie about that?
My name's Sunloaf, and I won't answer Dan because I'm a big jerk! Isn't that right, Sunloaf? Hi, I'm Sunloaf. I wanted to be in charge so badly, and then the second Dan gave me any power, I didn't know what to do with it!
Yeah, he's probably not serious.